Hi guys, welcome to a new tutorial. So in today's tutorial we are going to be covering a very basic AI. So we're going to create a character that can just randomly walk around a specific area, and then we're going to give it a little bit of functionality so that if our player is near it and we press a certain key, the character will stop moving, will face the player, and will have a message to give. So a very slight amount of dialogue to add in as well, and we're going to make that customizable so that we can just use the same blueprint for multiple different characters in a world. So, yeah, so before we begin, thank you to everybody that emailed me with your answers for the puzzle from my devlog video. I'm getting quite a few wrong answers, and quite a few good answers as well, so seems to be almost a 50-50 split. So the difficulty may need adjusting ever so slightly, but you know. So let's begin. The first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to make our AI. Now, I'm in the third person example here, so if you want to follow this along exactly, then I suggest that you open up a third person example, and then anything that we do here will be applicable to your actual projects. Lost for words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where our character is. So I have our third person character here inside the blueprints folder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to call this AI. Oops, apparently no I'm not. Let me rename you. Rename AI character underscore BP. Now I'm just going to click this little show or hide the sources panel here so that I can get a list of folders. And I'm going to take the AI and I'm going to put him into the correct folder. So we've got this folder here. I'll just go back. I'm going to drag it in to the basic AI tutorial folder, move here, and if I go to this folder we can see that I have him here in this folder. So this is just going to make it easier for me to work with it. So let's open him up. There we are. Now we don't need any controls for this, so we're just going to delete everything that's already in here, and then we're going to press compile. So basically all we're doing is we're just starting with a fresh pawn that has everything that we already need to make this move around. Now we don't really need a camera for this, or a camera boom, so we're going to delete those. So all we've got is a guy inside of a capsule. We'll press compile on that. Now what we need to do is we're going to tell this guy that he can move around the world on his own. So what I'm going to do first though is I'm going to click character movement here in the left, and then I'm going to find his max walk speed, which you have under character movement walking, and I'm actually going to turn this down to 200 because I don't want him to run around at full speed. In fact, I might quickly make a variable. So we'll say variable, and I'm going to get this a float, and this is going to be his walk speed. I'll call out walk speed. I'm just going to quickly compile it. And I'm going to say event begin play. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set his walk speed. We're going to get a right click random float in range, and I want him to move at least 100 and a maximum of say 450. I'm going to plug that into walk speed, and then I'm going to drag out the character movement and drag from this and say set max walk speed, and then just plug the walk speed straight into there, like so. So now every single one of these will have its own random walk speed from the beginning. Now let's see, we want to get an event tick, so we're going to have this occur every second, but we will optimize this later. We're going to have this happen every single frame, but there is a way to work around this, but it looks a little bit messy, but it works. It's a bit of a hack. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to, first we're going to branch. And the reason that we're going to branch is because we need to know whether or not the character is already moving. So we're going to add a new variable, and we're going to make sure that this is a boolean. We're going to call this walking, and we'll put a question mark because I like a question mark, and we'll quickly compile. We'll drag this out and we'll get it, and we'll plug this into the branch. Now if he's already walking, so if he's walking and that's true, we don't actually want to do anything, we just want to let him do his thing. If he isn't walking, then we actually need him to do something. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag from here and we're going to say AI move to. false AI move 2. There we go. And now you have this lovely, lovely node here. So what we need is we need to right click and we need to self. So we get a reference to self and we're going to plug this into the pawn so it knows which pawn is going to be the AI moving. The destination, we are going to get actor location. So what it's going to do is it's going to find itself. We're going to drag from the return value and then we're going to get a random point in a navigable radius. And we're going to plug this into the destination. Now the radius, I'm going to put this to 500. Whoops. 500. Now I think maybe I'll create a quick variable for this and we'll make this a float and we'll call it walk radius. We'll compile it. I'm going to expose it by clicking the little eyeball. I'm actually going to default this to 500. And I'm going to put this down, I'll get it and plug it into the radius. So, excuse me. What that's going to allow us to do is now we'll be able to give each AI its own walk radius so that they'll all walk at a different possible maximum distance. So you'll get some that aren't really going to move around much at all depending on the way that you decide to set that up, and others that can roam quite far. So we're not quite done with this yet because we need a success and a fail state. But from the top, which is the execute pin, we're just going to get walking. So set walking, and we're going to set walking to yes. So basically, as soon as it starts moving, walking is going to be turned to yes. So this branch is going to then go true. So it's not going to do anything. It's not going to look for a new location. So then what we need to do is we need to set walking again. On success or on fail, we need to say it's not walking anymore. So if it reaches its location, or if it can't reach its location and gets stuck, then it's going to say I'm no longer walking. So it's going to go back to the branch and it's going to go, okay, you're not walking, find a new location. So we're going to compile that, and then we are going to drag a guy in. So we'll drag a guy in and we'll drag another guy in, so we'll have two. And if we press play, they're not going to do anything. Or they shouldn't. There we go. Now, the reason they're not doing anything is because they have no navigation area. So, because we're using this random point in navigable radius, what these guys need is a navmesh. Oops. So, if you search for nav, you'll find a navmesh bounds volume. And if we drag this out, you'll get this little box. Now, this box represents everywhere that these characters can walk. So if I quickly stretch this out, like so, let's make sure it's touching the floor, and press play, this guy can now move around. Yay! Look at him go. So he's moving around now. The other boy can't move around, and this guy should never leave that area. He shouldn't be able to actually leave that area. He's confined to within that space. Woohoo, he's really going for it. So, sometimes this is a little bit hard to work with because you can't actually see the area that your character's in. But if we press P on the keyboard, then you'll get this really nice green area. And this shows us where your navmesh bounds are. Now, you notice just now that it goes red. If at any point you have a red navmesh, it just means that it's updating because you've changed something inside of it. So don't be afraid to see a red area. That just means that it's recalculating. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to make this area nice and large to give this guy a possible walk radius. Now they're both going to be able to move. If I click on this guy here, I'm going to change his walk radius to be 1,000. Boink, and there we go. Off they go. Ah, see, now you can see that one guy is a lot slower than the other guy because we give him random move speeds, which is quite cool. So they're off and doing their thing now, so they're wandering about. Let's just quickly make another. We'll make another couple. There we go. Just we'll make one, and we're going to set him to only have a really small radius. Actually, he doesn't want to move much at all. Now we can see they're all going around. They're all doing their thing. They're just randomly walking about. So there we go, little dudes. Oh God, he's coming for me. There we are. So what we need to do now is I'm actually going to give these things a delay, because as you can tell they get their their area, and then they immediately just go for a new one. So after the success, we're going to say delay. And we're actually going to plug the fail into this as well, and then just plug this delay into the set, which it already is. Now, the delay, I'm going to get a random floating range, and I'm going to say wait for a minimum of 1 second and a maximum of 5 seconds. And we'll plug that in, and we'll compile that, and now we'll press play. And now they'll choose a location, they'll run to that, they'll wait a little bit, and then they'll think about where they want to go now. And they'll move again. Okay, so now we've got some basic randomized movement. So they're just randomly wandering about, doing their own little thing. And there we go. Hello, I'm blocking your way. Okay, alright. Moody. Oh, blimey, he really wanted to be on that specific spot, didn't he? Go on, off you go. You are being rude, sir. You are being rude. Right. So now we're going to try and give these guys a little bit of possible, chat. We're going to let these guys be able to talk a little. I've just noticed that the nav mesh over here isn't quite high enough, and we're getting like a little bit of a thing here. So if we just raise this up, that's probably because this is a really sharp angle. In fact, yeah, because we get the same here. He's not quite going up there. So sharp angles will kind of break it. I mean, he can still get into here. This is still technically one area, but he'll fail if he chooses this area here, because he can't technically go there or here, because there's a mesh in the way. Right, so we need to give these things some possible chat. So that's what we're going to do next. So in fact, no, I'm going to show you how to just quickly optimize this. So we have this event tick. Now, this is going to check this every single frame, which can get quite expensive. Now, to stop that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to break it away from event tick. So, boop, and we're going to plug the set max walk speed into the event begin play, into the branch. And then what we're going to do is here, after we set walking to no, we're going to plug that straight back into the branch, like so. Now it looks a little bit messy, you can see. In fact, let's see, we'll break that. We'll do it a different way. We'll break this again. Break, because I just realized we can do that without having that nasty tangle. What we're going to do is we're going to create a custom event, add custom event, and we're going to call this one walk event. We're going to plug the walk event into the branch, and then after we set the walk speed, what we're going to do is we're going to call walk event. So call walk event, and then we're also going to call the walk event after it's stopped walking. So now we should end up with this infinite loop. So they should still work, he says. Well, they all just stand still. Yeah, there they go. So they're still working. Awesome. So that's that optimized. So now this isn't going to be called every single frame. It's only going to be called when it needs to be called. Yay! Optimization is fun. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just take this and we're going to press C to comment, and we're going to put walk logic. So there we go. Now we know that everything in there controls the way this dude walks. So the next thing that we need to do is we're going to give this guy a possible dialogue. So we're going to add a variable, and we're going to set this to a string, and we're going to call this dialogue. We'll compile this, and now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to the viewport, because we have to give this guy one more thing. We're going to add a component, search for box, and you'll get box collision. And now we need to make sure that this encompasses our guy, that gives us enough space for our player to actually get in there and interact with him while he's running around. So we're going to make it about that big. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add an event on overlap and add an event on end overlap. Now we're going to drag out from the on overlap, and we're going to do cast to third person character. There we are. And we're going to plug other actor into the object. Now the reason that we're doing this is so that the third person character is the only thing that can trigger this. We don't want this to be triggered by anything else that the AI might overlap with. So we have this it's going to check, is this the thing that's being overlapped? So it's only going to happen if our third person character overlaps with it. So if the third person character overlaps, what do we want to do? Well, we can't actually give any controls to these guys directly. So we can't say press E to talk in here, because to do so we would need to possess the AI, but we don't want to possess the AI. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the third person character, and we are going to give it a new variable. It's going to be a boolean, and we're going to say is overlapped. No, in fact, we won't call it is overlapped. AI overlap. We'll say AI overlap because it's a bit better to use. We're going to quickly just tick the little eyeball to make it public, and we'll compile that. And then we're going to go back into our AI character. Now, as third person character, we want to, what do we want to do? We want to set AI overlap. So set AI overlap. There we go. To yes on overlap and no on not overlap. Okay, so that will now say that the player is overlapping or not overlapping with our guy. So to test this a little bit further, what we're going to do is we're just going to print a string afterwards on both. Print string. And we're actually going to have the first one say hello and the second one say bye. I'll compile that really quick. And now we're just going to go and collide with some of these guys. And you can see up in the top left we have these words hello and goodbye, or just bye. And this is going to occur every time we overlap or end overlap with one of these AIs. So we know that that's working. It's reaching the end of that little logic tree. So we're going to go back into our third person character now. This is the one that you're actually controlling. And what we're going to say is keyboard, oops, hello, come on, keyboard E. So keyboard E, if it's pressed, what we're going to do is we're going to branch, and we're going to get our AI overlap. So if it is in fact overlapping and we press E, we need this to do something. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go back into our AI character. I know this is a lot of back and forth, but it'll be worth it, trust me. Come on. Now what we need to do is we need to add a custom event, and we're going to call this talk event. So now we have talk event. So when talk event starts, what we actually need to do is we need to drag out from our character movement, set max walk speed, and we actually want to set the max walk speed to 0. Now what this is going to do is it's going to stop our little AI from moving around. Then what we're going to do is we are going to drag out again and set world rotation of the mesh, because we want the mesh to actually face us. Then what we need to do is we need to get the player character, drag from the return value, get actor location, then we're just going to right click and get actor. It's just not highlighting these boxes for me today. Get actor location for self, and then from the one from self we are going to say find look at rotation, plug the player character's actor location into the target. Now we don't want to use all 3 axes here, we only need the your axis, which is the, if we quickly select one, the, come on, here we go. The your axis is this blue one here, which controls which way he's rotated. So we need to drag out from the return value, break the rotator. Then from the your, we're going to say minus, oops, minus, we want to float minus float, and we take 90 away, and then we drag from here, we make rotator. Just going to unplug that because we don't need this, we just need the yaw. I believe it's the yaw anyway. Hehe, he says. Boink. And we plug this into the new rotation. So now we can try and test this, and what we're going to do is we're going to drag from the set world location, set world rotation, and we're going to say this is really not playing ball today. We're going to say print string, and we're going to say you're talking to me. We'll quickly compile that, and we'll head into here again and press play. We'll approach somebody, and we'll press E. Oh, not working. The reason we're not working is because we forgot in the third person character from the branch we need to get all actors of class, and the class is going to be our AI, so we're going to search for our AI character BP. Now from the array we're going to, for each loop, so what this is going to do is it's going to look through the array and it's going to check every single one, and it's going to check which one we're actually interacting with. So that from the array element then we want to call talk event. There we are. So now that should work. When we press E, it will see which one we're overlapping and it should call the talk event. There we go. So you can see now he flicked to look at us and says, "You're talking to me." And he's saying you're talking to me 3 times. I'm not sure why he's saying it 3 times. Oh, they're all doing it. Ooh. That's why. So, what we need to do to make sure that we're only getting one of these is we need to give a new variable to the AI. We're going to call this, whoops, come on, is talking. We're going to get this. Now by default this is turned off, so branch. We want this to be in the true, so is talking true. If talking is true, then in third person we actually need to, from the array element, say set is talking. So set is talking to true, and then we'll trigger the talk event. Compile, and there we go. And then from is talking, set is talking. So at the end of the overlap, is talking set back to no, and that should be okay. So let's test that out. So we're running around and poof. Oh, he's still getting all 3 of them. Which makes me think that I've missed a slight thing out. Let's see. What have we missed? Is it because we're doing each? Perhaps I should open up my little reference. Yeah. But while we're doing that, what we need to do is on end overlap as well, we're going to set the get the character movement, and then we are going to set max walk speed. We're going to set the max walk speed. Come on, plug in. Set the max walk speed back to our walk speed variable, so that they're never just trapped forever. Okay, so there we go. Just gotta wait for this other project to open at the same time. Let's try and debug this really quick, because this is setting all of them rather than just a single. You know, when you have one of those things where you know you've missed out one simple step and you can't remember which step it is. These guys are all just standing there, staring at me, judging my every move. Kinda like you guys. I'm joking. Right. While that's opening, let's make the next little thing that we need. So we're going to right click and we're going to actually go to our user interface here and we're going to say widget blueprint and we're going to call this AI dialog widget. Aha, here we go. Right, oh no, you can see the answer to the puzzle. Ha ha! Alright, so let's click this little dude open. Which bit did I miss on you? I wonder. You see, now, it's going to be in that one. Thank you for that autosave, that was a helpful timing. So, let's see, it's going to be in my first person character. Oh, you silly, silly goose. I missed the branch. Okay. So, we're not going to set this talking. In fact, what we're going to do is get rid of this branch here. We're just going to plug this straight in. So quickly compile the AI character. We're going to go back into here. We're going to drag out from the array element and we're going to say is overlapping. Actor. Is that the one I'm using? See, my brain's gone to poop now. Yeah, we need that to be the other. So you're going into other, target needs to be self, and we're going to branch. There we are. So now it's going to check that it's actually the one that's overlapped. And then I believe that's still just plugged in. And it is. So now if we go back to here and we compile that, now only the one that we actually talked to should, yeah, there we go. Cool. So now he's doing his thing. Oh, hello. Oh. So we're gonna have to fix that rotation issue there, as that's a funky one. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go here and we're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to get world rotation, get the world rotation of the mesh, and we're going to promote this to a variable, and this is going to be our default rotation. We are going to plug this up inside of our lovely begin play here, so we'll do it before the walk event, so we'll get the rotation, or rather set the rotation like so, and then we are going to say set world rotation again of mesh after he leaves back to his default rotation. Although that's going to store just the original rotation, I bet. So he's going to... Oh no, did that do it? Did that do? He seems fine. Oh no. Right. Okay. Let's remove that for now. We'll remove the rotation for now, because I am not doing that correctly. So we'll get rid of that, get rid of that, and we'll delete the... Ooh, no, I'll delete the variable. There you go. Compile that. Right. So Now what we're going to do is we're just going to comment out this, and we're going to put overlap logic in there so that we know that this is what happens when he overlaps with a player. Now what we need to do is we're going to go back to that widget we created. So open up the widget. Come on, don't be like this. There we are. So over here in the left hand side we've got text. We want to grab the text, drag this into the canvas panel, and now we'll get this text block here. We're going to drag this. Come on. We're going to drag this to about center, and we're going to make the box large enough that we can do things with it. I'm going to place it about here. And in justification, I'm going to center justify this. I'm just going to leave this as text block. And here in the content here, we have text block. We have this button here that says bind. We're going to create a binding. And now what we're going to do is we are going to change the return node to a string. So here we click return node, and then in outputs we're going to change this to a string. We're going to, in the blueprint here up at the top, we have variables. We're going to add a variable, and we're going to call this a dialog. And we're going to set this to a string. Now we're going to press compile so we get the default, and we're going to default this to not red, so that now we know whether or not it's reading anything. We're going to drag dialog in, we're going to get it, and we're going to plug this into the return node. Now press compile. We're going to go to our third person character blueprint, and on event begin play, what we're going to do is we're going to create a widget. The class is our AI dialog widget. The owning player, we need to get player controller, plug this in. There we are. Now we're going to just drag out from the return value, and we're going to add to viewport, like so. Now what we'll do, we'll press compile, and if we press play, we should get the words not read on our screen, and we do. So you're talking to me. You're talking to me. You're talking to me. You're talking to me. Yes, I am talking to you. But you're not responding, are you? So mean. So, now what we need to do is we need to head back into our AI character blueprint. And on the talk event, what we actually need to do is we'll get rid of the print string. We're going to get the get all widgets of class, not actors, get all widgets of class. AI dialog widget, and then from the widgets we're going to, for each loop, this is only like a one object array, so we don't really need to check the numbers. And then we're going to set dialog, plug this into here, and we're going to set dialog to our dialog. So if we drag dialog out from here in our AI character, we'll get this, we're going to plug that into dialog. We need to get this, and we're just going to expose it so that we have the default value changeable in engine. And what I'm going to put this to is I'm actually just going to set this to hello, I'm talking to you. Right. We'll compile that. And now if we were to go into the level, so it's not red, if we approach an AI, it should, there we go, hello, I'm talking to you. Now, we're not going to be able to see this with others because we need to change them. So we've exposed the variable, so if we were to choose one of our AIs, then you'll see in the defaults here, now we have warp radius and we have dialog. So I'm going to say, lovely weather, exclamation point. He can still say hello, I'm talking to you. And this one will just be, go away. Yeah, just go away. So if we press play, it's not red. Oh, lovely weather. And we'll talk to this one. Hello, I'm talking to you. And go away. All right, rude. So now what we need to do is we actually go back into the widget, and we're going to say go to the event graph, and what we're going to do is event construct, which is pretty much begin play for our widget. This is just saying when this has been created, what you want to do. We actually just want to set visibility of self to hidden, so we can't see it. And then from the AI here, we actually want to drag from the array element, and we say set visibility to visible. And then we're going to do the same here. Boink, set visibility here, target gray element to hidden. So when we leave, it will now be hidden again, or it should, he says, hopefully. So we'll chat to you, lovely weather, and then when we leave, it disappears. Go away, okay. Hello, I'm talking to you. Cool. So the only thing that we don't have now is the rotation, although I haven't actually done rotation in my little preview of these guys that I've been building in my game. So I'm unsure about how we're going to store that properly yet, because as you saw, with these guys getting random, I need a way to store their current walk rotation. It's probably just going to be their forward vector, I guess. But I'm not going to just guess. I might do a more complex version of this later on with multiple different chats. Maybe we can try to do that now. So if we actually say from talk event, yeah, let's see. We'll add a new variable. We're going to say dialog line. This is where I'm just freestyling, guys. This may not work. I'm going to set this to an integer. We're going to have this set to be 1 by default. We're going to go into third person, and we're going to say if we press E and overlap is enabled, we're going to get the overlap. And what we're going to do is we're going to set dialog line, and we'll get dialog line. So we're going to set dialog line to dialog line plus 1. Yeah, plus 1, which means I need dialog line to stay at 0 to start with. So we'll set that, and then we'll do talk event. Compile that. AI character, we're going to redefault this to 0. So there we go. So we're going to say branch. No, we won't do the branch here. We'll do the branch afterwards. So we'll get the loop. So loop, and then we're going to branch. What we're going to say is dialog line get equal integer. If it's equal to 1, then we'll do line dialog 1. We'll change this to dialog underscore 1, and then we'll duplicate this, duplicate, and we'll call this dialog underscore 2. We'll say false, and then branch if dialog line is equal or greater than 2, then we're going to do this, but instead of using dialog 1, we're going to use dialog 2. So let's see, let's say dialog 2, get, put that in, boink, compile that, and then what we want to do, oh hello, I didn't plug this in, boop, boop, there we go. Make sure you plug the loop into these things, and then what we're going to do is we'll set dialog line to 0 when the player leaves. So now these guys should all have 2 different dialogues. So lovely weather, I'd like an ice cream, ... What does this guy say? He says, hello, I'm talking to you, and it's oi, are you listening? And this guy's going to say, oh, go away, and he said, sorry, that was rude. See, like, he gets to redeem himself. So now if we press E, we should get lovely weather, and if we press it again, I'd like an ice cream. And if we press it again, nothing else happens. And we say, oh, hello, I'm talking to you. Oh yeah, you listening? Nothing. Cool. Go away. Sorry, that was rude. And you can do that. You can just continue to stack at different a different set of these if you wish. So we're just going to comment this out real quick. Comment dialog logic. So now we've got this really basic set of dialogue that we can use. So not overly interactive, but for just, you know, little dudes that are in your level that you want to just have. I'll just quickly branch this again because you know me, I have to. We just yeah, get in there. 2. You can, there you go. If it's equal or greater than 3, then we'll do branch, and if it's greater than 3, then we will say maybe yeah, if it's greater than 3, it's gonna do the thing. What are we gonna do? If it's greater than 3, we want it to re-scroll through. So if it's greater than 3, then we'll quickly set that back to 0 and set. And in fact, we don't even need to set that. We just need to set the visibility of the chat to be hidden and target the. There we go. Now, what I've done is I've made it so that I can still chat to them. So like, lovely weather, I'd like an ice cream, and then it goes away and press it again. Lovely weather, I'd like an ice cream. So I can just loop it through. That's what that did. Although he's not paying any attention. Oh, he is. Yeah, go away. That was rude. Oh, well, stop saying it, please. You're hurting my feelings. Okay, so there you go. Oh, hello. That gave us an error. What error did you give us? Access none. Ah, because he's already hidden at this point. Okay, so instead of hiding, because that would be bad, so we don't want any sort of errors, we're actually just going to set dialogue of this guy to be blank. So we're just going to leave that blank. So instead of having the text hidden, it's actually just going to set it to a blank box. There we go. So it still works exactly the same, but now we shouldn't get a hideous error. There we go. Cool. So that's that, guys. Really basic little AI thing for you. I just realised that I had a cup of tea while I was doing this, and I've let it go cold. You see what you guys have done? My tea is cold now. We have to make another one. Right. Hopefully that's useful for you guys, and that's something that you can use. It's quite a lot of fun getting an AI to work. Just seeing those walk about is very satisfying and slightly creepy. It's like watching an ant farm or something. I think as well, like, we didn't discuss nav meshes in too much detail. We can say split these guys up. So if we imagine that we've got one nav mesh here, and we'll just drag another one here. This lonely little guy in the middle won't move, and the other two will stay in their own section. So you don't have to have this nav mesh cover your entire level. The AIs will only respond to whichever nav mesh they're inside when play begins. So yeah, that's quite fun. So there we are. As I say, hopefully that's something you guys can use. And that you've learned something new today. I will try and get a more complicated version of this with a better user interface. This is just very basic. You can build on top of the widget if you wish. You can make this look a little bit sexier. You can, where are we at? We can go to the designer. You can put like a little, you know, an image here, or a little box. So maybe you wanted, I don't know. Can we just put image? This is going to be a white box. We can say. Just at this point now, just showing you guys that we can say maybe just make this black, and then we can lower its opacity down, and we can compile that. And then if we talk to them, we get like a little box like so. So you can do little things like that with it. I mean, you can do that within an entire image. I mean, we need to make that disappear when it's got no text in it, but that's not the most difficult of things to do. We can just say that we can bind its visibility. Oh, we got a warning. What's this one about? What is this one? Why are you doing this? Okay. Well, now I'm confused by that. There's nowhere else that it's getting any visibility from. Maybe it might be because I was overlapping two AIs at once. It was trying to turn it off and on at exactly the same time. See, there's no error there now. Yes, it was just because I was inside two meshes at once and they were both trying to get control of it. Okay, so there you go, guys. Have fun with that. I will see you guys next time.